welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Modern at the request of Patreon subscriber Mr. Toots, and this is Orzhov Blink. Mr. Toots is the person who submitted about a month ago on the channel Golgari Hexmage, which was a cool deck that used Vampire Hexmage to turn Overlord of the Belmerk into a creature ahead of schedule. That deck was awesome, but it was playing on a lot of the same corner that Orzhov is, and in the last round of that video, I played against Orzhov, and it was very clear how much better Orzhov is than Golgari at doing exactly what that deck was trying to do. And Mr. Toots agreed, and has switched over to Orzhov and sent this in for me to play. This has been a deck basically since Overlord of the Belmerk was printed. People figured this out pretty quick. You can cast it for 2, draw a card out of your graveyard, and Phelia Exuberant Shepherd can flicker it, which then draws another card, and it comes back as a 5/5 that can attack and keep drawing cards. This is your nut draw, just kind of Thoughtseize, Phelia, Overlord, attack, flicker, Overlord. By turn 3, you have 7 power in play and you've drawn 2 extra cards. But it's in a shell full of cool value creatures like Emperor of Bones and Solitude. Great target for Ephemerate. Flickerwisp does that as well. But a more recent change to this deck, Ketramose the New Dawn, 1 black-white, legendary god. Menace, lifelink, indestructible, can't attack or block unless there are 7 or more cards in exile, and whenever 1 or more cards are put into exile from graveyards or the battlefield during your turn, you draw a card and lose 1 life. Exiling cards from the battlefield, we're playing Solitude, we're playing Phelia, we're playing Ephemerate, these all become cantrips. Exiling cards from graveyards, we had Boggart Trawler anyway, but the new Ketramose builds of the deck are playing Relic of Progenitus. This becomes tap, lose a life, draw a card on your turn. That's pretty powerful. And this steady stream of exiling makes it so Ketramose can actually become a creature and be ready to fight. Overlord of Emperor of Bones, not Overlord, Emperor of Bones. At the beginning of combat on your turn, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. This is go to combat, lose a life, draw a card, and then all the other words on Emperor of Bones if you have Ketramose in play. Ketramose does eat up a lot of deck slots. This used to be an Aether Vial deck that also had Recruiter of the Guard, and you had some cool technology creature tutor chains going on. This is the new hotness though. The Aether Vials eaten up by Relic of Progenitus, all the flex slots eaten up by the draw engine that is Ketramose the New Dawn. And that's how people are building this right now. This is 1 card different than the Orzhov Blink deck that made the top 16 at Regional Championship Charlotte. That was the highest placing version of this deck. That tournament was dominated by Breach, to no surprise. This video will come out just a few days before the ban and restricted update announcement, the regularly scheduled ban and restricted update, where everybody expects Underworld Breach to get banned. This will be kind of the last few days that this exact deck in this exact format matter. But you got a few more days. If you want to see that busted Breach deck that we're about to lose, I 5-0'd with it on the channel about a month ago. Go check that out. I just realized I was talking the whole time with only 3 Overlord of the Belmerks in the deck. There are 4 of them. This is a 60-card deck. For those of you who noticed, I fixed it. Let's get into this. This is Orzhov Blink. I'm on the play in round 1, and remember that nut draw I described in the deck tech of Thoughtseize them, Flash and Phelia, play Overlord, draw 2 cards? Well, I have it. Opponent's got 7 cards in their hand. Let's take a peek. Eldrazi is what we're up against. We've got Talisman that can be played on turn 1. Kozilek's Command that cannot snag the Phelia in time, but will eventually be good. Yeah, I think I want to take the Talisman, actually. I have another Thoughtseize if I feel like I need to interact with their hand again. There's Wooded Foothills. Well, there's Ketramose. All right. They should be able to Kozilek's Command for 1 this turn, but not 2. And 2 is the sweet spot where I could at least get a bunch of cards going. Even if they play Karn on turn 4, or they Kozilek's Command my Phelia on, or Karn on turn 3, or Kozilek's Command my Phelia turn 3, it's not a huge deal. We'll have already drawn a bunch of cards. Here's the lab, pitches the World Breaker. Speaking of labs, here comes Phelia, who's clearly a corgi, but I'm just trying to make content here. Let me have my bad jokes. Overlord of the Baelmerk, cast with Impending. There's no window where they can exile the creatures milled by Overlord with Kozilek's command. They can exile other creatures before the trigger, but the 4 that you mill with the Overlord, they just happen. And we're doing it. I found a replacement Phelia. Unfortunately, I drew a white land instead of a black one, so I don't get to Thoughtseize here for the full punish. They're spending mana in my end step. They're just gonna like draw a card with Kozilek's command. Okay, yeah. Make a Dingus draw a card. You got it. That guarantees Karn, but they already had Karn. Scribe to the top. They like what they found. Overlord trigger. Gets back nothing. It milled over just another Overlord. Bummer. Just have to settle for a 2 mana 5/5 that drew a card. Eldrazi Temple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana for Eldrazi available here. Kicked Mycospawn. Boy, do we love this card in this house. Okay, so I'm probably not going to be able to Thoughtseize them. Tutored another Eldrazi Temple. Overlord is an enchantment, which Worldbreaker can exile when you cast it. Okay, Brick City. I could attack for 8. I guess flickering out Mycospawn doesn't matter. Wait, it's non-land, right? Bummer. Can't reset the Ugin Slab. I can flicker out Mycospawn and just bash for 8. I could flicker out Overlord and try to find a card. The card I'd be looking for here is exactly the goblin, the double-faced goblin. The Boggart Trawler. Exile up to 1 other target. So I do have to choose a target when I attack. I don't get to mill, see what I find, and then decide if I'm going to flicker Overlord. I think I'd rather just attack for 8 and flicker out the Mycospawn. Found a Flicker Wisp in there. Try to get this game over. Mycospawn's back. Malevolent Rumble. 2 Emrakul's in the pile. Sanctum of Uvgin, sowing Mycospawn. They could take anything here. They took Emrakul. Who currently costs 7, which they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, good. They're in there. Okay, so I have to Solitude Emrakul. And then they can attack with Overlord, which will get back Solitude, that they can pitch more stuff and roast more of my deck. Well, I have to do this. Solitude, pitching. It's probably Ketramose, right? At least having a Phelia to rebuild with is useful. Flicker Wisp versus Ketramose. Yeah, I don't think this is going to be a Ketramose game. Really wish I had an Ephemerate right now. Exile Emrakul. Yeah, so they attack with Overlord. They Solitude the Overlord, block the Phelia on this turn. They drew Relic. They're controlling me right now. I'm not doing anything. And then I'll have a turn to do what I want to do. The mill is not optional. Returning a creature is, but they probably will return the Solitude, like I was saying. Unless they find something more messed up to get back. Legend Rule Phelia. I guess how they value their sowing Mycospawn here matters. They could have just blocked that. Wow, they didn't attack, didn't get back to Solitude. Okay. I think my opponent is not quite totally dialed in on what's going on here. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but that turn could have been so much worse for me. They're at 22 life right now. And I just drew another Phelia. And there's one in the graveyard. I could just attack, load this up. I will flicker out the Mycospawn, though. I do need to deal damage. Yes. Witch Enchanter, Solitude, Phelia. Guess I'll take Solitude back. And Relic of Progenitus. I could bust this now, which messes up Delirium and general creature count. It also messes up my graveyard, but I already have most of the things I'd want. If I find a black source off the top, that's really good for me. All right, no such luck. And I cycled away the Ketramose, so that's not my out here. Relic won't work once Karn's in play. They can play Worldbreaker this turn, but they know I have Solitude for it. Utopia Sprawl. 2 cards left, one of them's Karn. Grab the Worldbreaker. This will exile Overlord. Yeah, just sowing Mycospawn, taking me off my 3rd mana, especially because that mana was black, just really messing up my whole life here. Found a black source, enters tapped, just what I wanted. I guess I will play Shadowy Backstreet. I don't want Relic of Progenitus. Worldbreaker. Does it matter if this is in play? I could just pass and hold on to the Solitude a little longer. This doesn't have Annihilator. Okay, I'm just going to pass. Is up to one other target non-land permanent. Okay. There is nothing to be done with this Phelia right now, and I'll pass. Here's Karn with 3 mana still available. You're going to coat me in liquid metal. Coating resolves. Oh, they didn't attack. Fascinating. All right. Saying there's a chance. If they coat my back straight in the upkeep, I'll Solitude. Okay, yeah, pitch. Phelia. Solitude Worldbreaker. And then Fatal Push Sowing Mycospawn and attack Karn. Exile the Breaker. Solitude dies. I won't be able to use this land this turn anyway. Fatal Push. Mycospawn. Draw something useful, maybe? Witch Enchanter. I mean, that is useful. Maybe not right now. What does this do right now? I could cast it. Nope, I'm so far away from casting this thing. Okay, I'm going to attack Karn with Phelia. And I'm going to exile nothing. There's just no value to be had there. Oh, I know what I could do. I can play Witch Enchanter, play Flicker Wisp, Flicker, Witch Enchanter face down, it comes face up, destroys the liquid metal coating. That's what I'm doing. I was just going to Flicker Wisp their land with Utopia Sprawl on it, but this is way better. Figured it out eventually, and I could have actually done way better with this Flicker Wisp. Alright, I fucked up that sequence. I just didn't see the line until post-combat. We're both making mistakes this game. Yeah, so this is just like a +1 counter on Phelia that I don't get, and I could have also killed their Utopia Sprawl land for their entire turn. Yep, not great. These decks are really hard to play, by the way. Not making excuses for myself, just if you are going to take this to a tournament, make sure you have your reps, because stuff like that, every little piece could matter. Kozilek's Command, killing Phelia. Can't protect her. And now they get to scry and draw. Bottom. Get rid of them. 2 cards in hand. 6 mana available. Plussing Karn. Alright, deck. Well, that one is really good. Is it better than Thoughtseizing them? I think I should take a turn to Thoughtseize them and just make sure that this combat's going to work and I clear the Karn and they're not going to Emrakul me next turn. If they have Kozilek's Command, they could cast it in response, but that would blow me out in combat, and I'd like to see what's going on. You have something happening in response. Kozilek's Command. I try to keep it light and positive on this channel, but I'm so sick of these MH3 Eldrazi cards. Like Sowing Mycospawn. If they can kick a Sowing Mycospawn that early in the game, I guess they deserve to take me off a color. I'm not that upset about it. All right, I'm going to take Karn here. They have Kozilek's Return that can completely stabilize the board, but at least they won't have a Karn. Yeah, like Sowing Mycospawn's pretty annoying the way that it has affected this game, but they did get to 6 mana and built their deck to do that. We're not in a format with Wasteland. They did actually have to kick it to kill a land. That's probably okay. This Kozilek's Command, just shredding through their deck with better card selection than even blue decks get in their colorless ramp deck, is horse hockey. Yeah, here's a card that this was drawn randomly, which is extra annoying, honestly. They went 1 top 3 bottom on their Scry 4, so they did not actually set up a play around Thoughtseize there, but they did get one anyway. Okay. Overlord of the Veilmerk. I'm a mana short of just casting it straight up. I can get back Solitude, who I am a mana away from playing it. Impending starting to tick down. Let's see what happens from here. I've milled a lot of cards. There's 22 cards left in my deck. My remaining basic lands are still in the deck, if they do decide to crack off this Ghost Quarter on me. Juka Bog. Alright, that doesn't matter from here. If I draw a Ketramose, it's definitely a creature. And their hand is Pyroclasm. What's up? Okay, fetch. I hope there's a fetchable left. There's exactly one. We did it. Okay. I guess I'll wait until the combat step to cast this. I guess I have to. There's no haste creatures in their deck. I'm just going to cast this while I'm sure it's going to work. I'm at 6. There's no sub-game to play here. There's no wait till their end step. Kozilek's Command is an instant anyway. Or Kozilek's Return is an instant anyway. Okay, opponent's at 26 life. Overlord versus Solitude, dual decks. Yeah, they thought about it for a second, then decided to main phase the Return. I am an Ephemerate deck, that's almost certainly correct. I am not going to play out this Flooded Strand. I don't think it will be useful. I guess at minimum it could turn on Fatal Push. Maybe that was just a spew. Like if they play Thought-Knot Seer right now, a card that I don't even know if they play. Sowing Myco Spawn. Well, I can still kill that. Load of black. They push that thing. They got one card in their hand. The Overlord continues to impend. They have so many answers to that thing, though, even when it wakes up. And I can't attack 4 times with it because I have 18 cards in my deck. It would take 6 attacks to kill them. Phelia is a gamer, though. Writhing Chrysalis. Phelia is no longer a gamer. I don't think I'm even going to play this. Maybe I have to. All right, yeah, maybe I have to. There are things I could draw that Flickering is good enough on. The Bone Zone. I will enter the Bone Zone. This can exile Kozilek's Return from their graveyard. Take your Kozilek's Return. And if I attack and flicker out Writhing Chrysalis, Overlord wakes up to block. 2, 3, 4. They need more spawns. Alright, yeah. I'll flicker Writhing Chrysalis. This is a cast trigger. They won't get more spawns out of this. And I gotta deal damage somehow. Overlord wakes up. Another Utopia Sprawl. I'm not scared of that. Okay, you're saying there's a chance. Okay. If I flicker out one of my creatures, it turns on Fatal Push. I could also just fetch this blank land. I am going to move to combat, exile Sowing Myco Spawn from their graveyard. I just want creatures in here at this point. And then I'm going to attack and flicker out my Emperor of Bones. I just want Phelia to get bigger. And this turns on Revolt. Use Overlord's ability. Ooh, there's a Ketramose. Is that better than Solitude? Probably not. Well, I'm not going to cast Solitude. I'm out of lands. All right, Ketramose it is. And unfortunately, I could not see how that was going to go before committing to this attack, so I do have to Fatal Push. I've got 12 cards left in my deck. None of them are mana. Okay, Phelia gets bigger. Bone Zone's back. Stomping Ground from the opponent. So I'm going to play Ketramose and stop attacking with Overlord, probably. All right, the Ketramose into re-Ketramose pipeline. I will draw a card if I play this pre-combat. I won't draw a card if I play it post. I think I am interested in it. I'll take that Writhing Chrysalis out of your deck. I lose a life, draw a card. March. I am going to flicker out the Eldrazi spawn anyway, so I'm not going to march it. Not going to attack with Overlord. He's chilling. Grindy game. Hope I don't get Emrakul. There's a lot of men in the pool. Okay, I don't mind that. Ketramose is not an enchantment. Taking my black mana is super shitty. But they've been pretty consistent, and it's worked out well for them the whole time to attack my black sources. Okay. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14. If I flicker out World Breaker, I'm going to exile Sowing Myco Spawn from their graveyard. Now they don't have creatures there. Draw another Ketramose. Attack, attack, attack. I can attack with Overlord next turn. Draw another card here. Boggart Trawler. That is a black source on the slow and painful, but Boggart Bog, I would not like to pay 3 life. No. Okay, had to think about it for a second. They do have a World Breaker coming back. I'm happy to chump block it, because I'm not using this Overlord anyway. I can Solitude in an emergency. I've actually pulled this game back. If they draw a blank here, I got it. Uggin's Lab, 1 card in hand. As Ghost Quarter is face up, they could kill this Boggart Bog basically completely for free. I should have held that and used my lifelink or Solitude one of my own creatures to get black accessible to me. Okay, they are spending mana. Kozilek's Command, exiling Ketramose and Scry X draw X. Okay, that's happening. Yeah, another just casual dig 5 cards out of the colorless ramp deck. What's the color pie anyway? Who needs it? They bottom 3, kept 1 on top. Great, and they drew an Emrakul. That's exactly the thing that I said I hope they don't draw. But of course they drew it because they've seen their whole deck, because they can just scry X. That's something that their strategy is capable of. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Can I just exile this shit? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, I'm 1 short of exiling the World Breaker. Okay. And solituding the Emrakul is just as bad. We gotta do what we gotta do. They can just kill me, though. I also just clicked the wrong creature, so Emrakul's still in play. Alright. March. I guess I have to march the Utopia Sprawl just so they don't get to kill one of my creatures for free. They did not do a great job on the last Emrakul turn, so I'm going to give them a chance to mess up here. I had a basic Swamp still in my deck. That's fun. Flooded Strand doesn't get it. I knew I couldn't fetch it. Okay, they're looking at the remaining cards in my deck. There is nothing they can get. They can... Yeah, if they attack with Overlord and flicker out Overlord, that works. They're playing Ketramose for me. Yeah, Ketramose, Phelia, Emperor of Bones also decks me. There's like 4 different ways they could deck me this turn. Drew Boggart Trawler, they could shock that in still. Phelia and Overlord attacking. Okay, they found the line. Okay. Well, we lost to Kozilek's Command and Sowing Mycospawn. Some things never change. I'm out here playing Legacy 3 or 4 days a week. I come to Modern for a change of pace and lose to the same shit. Alright. White Orchid Phantom's great. Vindicate's good. Arch of Otherworldly Light seems bad. Fatal Push seems horrendous. And none of these other cards are for them. I don't think you bring in Dothy Voidwalker just to apply more pressure. That's just another thing that dies to a sweeper. However, Malevolent Rumble and Emrakul are parts of their plan. That is a little bit interesting, but I have relics and bone zones and stuff for that. There's a lot of passive graveyard hate in these decks. I don't think we're really... Or Ephemerating White Orchid Phantom's great, never mind. I was about to say we're not really in an Ephemerate matchup, but this is about sideboarding for game 2, not for game 1. And flickering White Orchid Phantom becomes a whole thing. Do I shave a Ketramose? I mean, I know that hits really hard, but also I drew 3 copies of a redundant legendary creature in that game that I ended up losing barely by a turn. If these were just something else. Okay, I'm going to try this. Beat up their lands, apply pressure. I will keep my hand. Thoughtseize Phelia is enough for me. I can vindicate a land. I would love to find a White Orchid Phantom, but I am going to start with what I have. A Emrakul, Kozilek's Return, Devourer of Destiny, Utopia Sprawl. Kozilek's Return is a huge pain in the ass. I will take that away. It's still a problem in the graveyard too, but I have a lot of passive ways to deal with that. Vindicating a basic forest holding Utopia Sprawl is something that's in my range right now. Exiled Bog, Talisman, Devourer. Windswept Teeth, Sprawl. Alright, deck. Hook something up here. Yo! This only kills non-basics. I will pass for now. I might, and depending on what they do this turn, I might fetch for a Surveil land rather than play Phelia. Because killing this forest right now is worth more than killing their Eldrazi Temple. Shadowy Backstreet. Found the land. Okay. Vindicate this forest. And then they'll be stuck on playing on non-basic lands. At which point, White Orchid plus Ephemerate hopefully can tear them apart. Ugin's Lab. We know there's multiple viable pitches in hand for that. There goes Emrakul. Okay, White Orchid Phantom. I'm going to hit the Ugin's Lab. They didn't even tap to return the Emrakul in response. They were just F6'd. We got a 2-for-1. That could have been a 1-for-1. And I could Ephemerate in my draw step. I think I want to chill, though. See if they can kill my creature. Do they even have a land to play? Malevolent Rumble. Missed on a land. There's just a bunch of big idiots in here. They kept Talisman of Impulse. That's where my opponent is this game. Okay, I am not going to Ephemerate just yet, because Flickerwisp does the same thing. Phelia will eventually do the same thing. I could flicker their spawn. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to pass and get Phelia set up this turn. Utopia Sprawl. Okay, Flickerwisps can kill that too. They sack to spawn to make a Talisman. Yeah, they're just turning short-term mana into long-term mana. And I hope to make their life pain. Okay, is it better? It's better to flicker White Orchid. Alright, they just scooped. Sweet. Okay. Found my important cards that time around. I don't think anything changes. Play draw. I don't think I've been talked into Void Walker or anything. Ketramose is still a redundant 3-drop legend that may or may not impact the board. Okay, going back in. That Vindicate was nice, though. I've seen some lists with as many as 3 Vindicate. Maybe I should be doing that. I will keep this. There's only 1 actual land in it, but it is a 3-lander. And it has White Orchid Phantom. Multiples. And as we showed with the Vindicate and the Flickerwisp, even basic lands are not entirely safe here. They mull to 6 and have a Devourer. They exiled Emrakul, Worldbreaker, and Ugin's Lab. Stomping Ground is non-basic. Basic Swamp. That's not particularly helpful with the cards I need to cast. I'll get a Shadowy Backstreet this turn. I have Witch Enchanter in the bank if I need that. Ugin's Lab. We know they have at least a Devour of Destiny they can pitch into this. Oh, they didn't. All right, Rumbling. Stomping Ground, Myco Spawn, or another Devourer are the options here. They took Stomping Ground. Okay, so they want mana. Good to know. I'll get Backstreet. Thoughtseize. Ooh. I think I do want to poke this hand at some point. They haven't actually ramped, so I'm not actually taking them off any mana. 1, 2, 3, 4. They could play something like Karn next turn. What if I play Overlord this turn and then Thoughtseize plus White Orchid them next turn? I think I'm going to do that. Just get the Bale Merkin, Lurkin and Merkin. The Bone Zone clears the Kozilek's Return. Phelia gets them in the White Orchid loop. I'll take Phelia here. Okay. This is a little risky, I could have just blown up a land, but they didn't imprint anything, so I would have just been turning a colorless land into a basic forest. Rumbling again. It's Talisman or Wooded Foothills. They'll probably take Talisman here, would be my guess. Oh, they took Foothills. They could have done that just to build up cards in their graveyard, like card types. Because that puts an artifact there. They have at least one Surveil land, we've seen it. Okay, show me the rest of that hand. Okay, bunch of Kozilek's commands, Devour of Destiny, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're a little bit of ways from the Devourer. I'm way more worried about Kozilek's command than Kozilek's Return. All right, command is gone. Zap in the meadow, take a million. I'm going to blow up Ugin's Lab. Just trying to take them off colorless sources, because they have multiple double colorless cards in hand and only 2 spawns in play with which to cast those things. They're fetching in the end step. 6 mana showing. If they ever Kozilek's Return, they lose all their colorless mana. I'm just debating if, solituding one of these spawns is the thing, and I don't think it is. Stomping Ground tapped. Well, they let me untap in my Ephemerate deck. Attack with my Phantom. If I play another White Orchid, is that enough to draw out the sweeper? Let's find out. I would love for them to Wrath here, because they would lose all of their colorless mana as well. Okay, blow that up. Got another forest. I'll play another Witchbless Meadow, untapped. Represent the Phelia. They didn't use their mana at all. The third basic forest, how many of those could they play? I'm feeling like my next White Orchid is a Strip Mine. Okay, Devour of Destiny triggers multiple Kozilek's Returns out of the graveyard. That's gone. Very gone. Can't save that either. A good turn all around, but they are out of colorless mana. I'm going to end step Phelia and see if I can rip the goods. Thoughtseize. Ooh, okay. Thoughtseize and Flickerwisp both work here. Does Flickerwisp do anything? It at least makes Phelia bigger. This is a end of turn flicker, not an immediate one. All right, I'll Thoughtseize their hand. 2 Kozilek's command, Kozilek's Return. I guess I'd take Kozilek's Return and just hope they never get colorless mana again. And okay, I think this works. Flickerwisp, exile Devourer of Destiny. Attack with Phelia, exile Flickerwisp. End of turn, I have to stack my triggers carefully here. I want to return the Devourer first, then return the Flickerwisp, then flicker out the Devourer. There we go. Then it's not in play to attack me. And this bought me another turn to draw a mana to just clear this thing and get to keep a Solitude forever. That's back. Overlord. Well, there's that. Okay, now I don't care if I keep my Solitudes forever. Overlord. Mill 4. I would like a White Orchid Phantom back, please. Solitude, exiling Solitude. Exile the Devourer forever. White Orchid. Destroy Stomping Ground. It did have a 4th basic forest. Alright. You sicko. Okay. Exile Overlord. 38 cards in my deck right now. Plenty to play the game with. I would like to return Ketramose to my hand. Whatever they're going to do, they got to do it right now. And they couldn't do it. Sweet. All right, yeah, really close game one that came down to like top decks from both of us after a long drawn out game that was really close, could have broke either way. But then game 2 and 3, some relevant sideboard cards in, and they were pretty clean. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. On the draw in round 2, I am going to keep this hand. It's a lot slower than the awesome Thoughtseize Phelia hands that we had last round, but I have the Ketramose, I have a Solitude, Overlord Digs. You'll basically never catch me trying to mull to a nut draw in the blind in any format with any deck. Unless it is like Oops All Spells that you're built around a nut draw, but I'm not going to like go to 5 to try to curve perfectly in a deck like this one. Hey, they've got Golgari mana showing. Relic of Progenitus. I'll put that on top. That's part of my combo. I could get Overlord going, or I could put Relic in against this deck that might be using that a lot. It also makes Ketramose better. I'm just going to impend my guy, though. This is the powerful thing my deck does. I'll try to do it. Solitude and Phelia. I'll take Phelia. Already loaded up on Solitudes over here. And then that gives me the mana-efficient line of Relic plus hold up Phelia mana next turn, rather than having to tap out for a Ketramose that doesn't do anything. Orcish Bowmaster. That's pretty good against Ketramose. It is not optional to draw cards when things get exiled. Oh, we're Abzan. Fun. The Bone Zone. Alright, well, that's good against me. Is this the Abzan mirror match? Is that a thing? Okay, how worried am I about Orcish Bowmaster versus this Emperor of Bones existing? I think I'm worried about Emperor of Bones enough to just cack off on it here before it gets to exile anything. Pitch one of my many Ketramoses. Exile the Bone Zone. It's a zone I don't want to be in, respectfully. Another Relic. I'll play out one of the relics and hold up Phelia here. Scavenging Ooze. That is annoying, but ultimately inconsequential. Okay, they attacked directly into Phelia, so either they have Fatal Push or they're not thinking about my deck. Either way, I'm going to go for it here. Because if they have push, they can still push later. And if I get to just block this Bowmaster, that's bonkers. Okay, I don't get to block the Bowmaster. Not bonkers. Alright, I'd love to draw a white card. Alright, white card to go with Solitude right off the top. Let's go! Not a white card. I can see if there's a white card on top, though, and then sequence some cool stuff together. Okay. Backstreet. Looking for, like, any white card here. Phelia counts. Phelia on top. And then I'll play Ketramose. This line requires me to take a damage from Orcish Bowmaster, but it's going to be worth it at the end of the line. Okay, exile their thing with Relic. And then Solitude, exile Phelia. Exile the Orcish Bowmaster, which will draw another card. And then Solitude dies for 5. They can hit me for 5 this turn. And then I can pop my Relic and incinerate their life with Ketramose next turn. Or just play a second Relic and tap, 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 go crazy. Eladamri's Call. This is fun. Solitude. Okay, so they could spend 2 cards to gain me 4 life to break up my draw engine here. It's pretty good. They are hitting me pretty hard. Temple Garden. They'd be down to 1 card in hand if they pitch here. If I get to my turn, I can start drawing cards like crazy. Okay, good. Oh, they're also a Ketramose deck. I shouldn't be surprised. I've seen the bones for it. The Scavenging Ooze, the Bone Zone. Okay, that's happened. And that 10, they could hit me for more than that with Ooze next turn. The Enchanter. I think there's only 2 Backstreets in my deck. There are, which means I could just fetch a basic here, dump out my hand. Which Enchanter doesn't actually kill anything here. But it is a 2/2. Okay, fetch. For basic planes. I could actually just eat my Relic here. And then there's nothing for Scavenging Ooze to exile. If I pop Relic, I also might draw something better, like Flicker Wisp. Okay, I will try just popping the Relic. Godless Shrine. Not really what I'm looking for, but I will deploy this creature that is currently as big as any other creature on the board. As my Overlord impends, it'll be a 5/5 at the end of next turn. Delighted Halfling and Grist. All right, well, Grist can kill Enchanter, or they could save it to kill Overlord next turn. Yeah, that's probably better. I'll block. I'll take basically any trade here. Ketramose, the New Dawn, and a New Dawn it shall be. That was a really messed up draw. Relic. Exile a card from your graveyard, opponent. Draw a card. Fatal Push, what's up? Godless Shrine tapped. And I guess I'll just Fatal Push the Ooze right now before it can eat anything. Okay, Overlord's a creature, but not for long. Let's see if this Ketramose can hold. They are in top deck mode. Grist can't kill it because it's indestructible. It's a god, you see. A minus, sack the bug, kill the Overlord. And top deck mode, did they find a Ketramose too? Siege Rhino, what's up? Opponent is has class and style. It's safe to say. Okay, I will draw a card and hit your graveyard. I should have hit myself with that. Now Boggart Trawler is worse. Okay, Menace, Lifelink, Indestructible. So they can double block. Siege Rhino survives, Halfling dies. I do gain a bunch of life though. Yeah, I definitely should have Reliced myself. That was loose. Okay, Boggart Trawler, target myself. We are now priced into doing that. Guess I could have attacked and targeted them, eaten their Halfling or Grist post-combat. I'd still rather just find a removal spell and win the combat than doing any of that other stuff, though. Okay, attack Grist. It says Menace, so they have to lose something here, either Grist or Delighted Halfling. Siege Rhino's giant ass doing the work, though. Okay, Marsh Flats, deploy Witch Enchanter, and I'm in some amount of trouble, too. Another Siege Rhino. Okay, here we go. Opponent's ready for Tarkir Dragonstorm, where we get more Siege Rhinos. They milled a Relic. Played a land. Okay, good. Unless they have something with Flashback. I'm pretty safe this turn. I will double block Siege Rhino if they attack. I don't think this attack is good for them. This lets Ketramose just go completely apeshit. Them having a bigger creature meant that my creatures couldn't really push back. Like Ketramose chips in, but now they don't have a Menace blocker, and I'm not under any pressure on the swing back. Okay, attack Grist first. Get my life buffer, and then kick this in. This does feel crazy when it's going. Ephemerate. Well, that also triggers Ketramose. I don't think I'm that hard up right now. I neither pop my Relic nor Ephemerate my Ketramose, just to cycle. I will wait. If they draw Solitude, I can save Ketramose with Ephemerate. They're not winning the damage race. They're not winning the card race. Played around it. Ephemerate that. Solitude fizzles. In my upkeep, in response to the rebound, I'm going to activate Relic and see if I can spike some creature that's fun to flicker. Like if I find a Solitude on this draw, we're in business. Okay. I could Ephemerate to draw a card, or I could simply enjoy having Ketramose in play. I think I'm going to enjoy having Ketramose in play. Drew the Bone Zone, which will exile Siege Rhino and draw another card for me, and then also be a Siege Rhino. Rhino. Bang. You Rhino me, I Rhino you. Okay, big beats. I have a creature that's bigger than Solitude in play. I'm also just going to cast Boggart Trawler and hit their graveyard and draw another card. Does this exile or die at the end of turn? Sacrifice. Okay, sacrifice with finality. All right, so I don't get to draw another card off the Bone Zone right now. Or did I? Oh yeah, sacrifice with finality does go into exile, doesn't it? Fascinating. Okay, cool. I'm learning so much. I feel way ahead. So my opponent agrees. Okay, some sort of pseudo mirror where they have green cards. Ray of Enfeeblement is in the list specifically to kill Ketramose. Target creature gets -4/-1 until end of turn. If it's white, it gets -4 until end of turn. This gets around Indestructible. Vindicate, killing generic permanents seems relevant. March of Otherworldly Light seems relevant. Blood Baron of Vizkopa. This is my favorite card in the entire list. I haven't really seen this before, but protection from white and black. And if you have more than 30 life and your opponent has less than 10, it's a 10-10 flyer. If Blood Baron's not for this matchup, it's not for anything. So here we go. The Ray of Enfeeblements and Blood Barons, the highly teched for the mirror match list I'm playing. Thoughtseize is an interesting one because I would rather take Solitude or Ketramose from their hand before they do something. But I also think we can grind through that, especially with the amount of removal coming in. Maybe I don't need the Vindicate. I have a lot of spot removal coming in, and this doesn't kill Ketramose. March does. Okay, I'm bringing in 3 answers to Ketramose and an Untouchable Beast, and taking out my Hand Disruption. Like, I drew a Thoughtseize in game 1 after my opponent had played out all their cards, and I ended the game with it still in my hand. I'm trying to avoid that situation, but obviously it would be good on turn 1, so just balancing out. There's going to be a lot more turn 5s and 6s and beyond this game than there will be turn 1s. I'll keep. Opponent's got an Overgrown Tomb and a Noble Hierarch. Raven Enfeeblement kills that too. Wouldn't be mad to draw one. You're in my house now. Godless Shrine. I will enfeeblize this thing. This is just zapping off an answer to Ketramose, which is the stickiest threat in both decks, but I do have March of Otherworldly Light that can get that eventually. Shadowy Backstreet. Dump to Marsh Flats, so they're not really hurting for mana, but still slowing them down off the ramp is reasonable. I would like to get my Overlord going. I would like another mana, and Overlord is 4 looks at a 5-outer that is a land. Or I could grab Solitude, one of the higher impact cards for the matchup. Already had one, but opponent doesn't need to know that. Marsh Flats. Masked Vandal. Bummer. I didn't take the Noble Hierarch out of their graveyard, so they get to exile my Overlord here. Mostly fine. Just a 1/3 creature. Okay, I did find land number 3. Not immediately relevant, but will be someday. Bone Zone. And would I rather have Relic in play, or would I rather Surveil one? I think I'd rather Surveil one. They got a Surveil land. Abzan mana bases look so pretty. Even if they're not casting spells I'm particularly scared of, this looks nice. This is just honest magic. Working hard for less. Prismatic Ending. Alright, my Prism is ended. That is an answer to Ketramose flushed out. I'm down 1, they're down 1. We have comparable resources here. They did just miss a land drop, though. But I'm about to miss one, too. We'll see who can figure this out. Backstreet. Overlord. What's up? Okay. Start trying to break this open again. Impend. Another Solitude. Right, all 4 of my Solitudes are now accounted for. Opponent knows about 2 of them. I'll exile a card from their graveyard immediately, just in case that matters. In case they have Gurmag Angler or something that would care about that. They exiled the Prismatic Ending and not one of the lands. That's pretty interesting. Do they have something that cares about lands in their graveyard, or is that just irrelevant? Okay, they drew a land this turn. They didn't have a land last turn, and now there's a new one in play. They are fetching. Siege Rhino is a serious thing here. Zenith for 3. Okay. Siege Rhino costs 4. We don't have mini Siege Rhino yet. Knight of Autumn. Okay. Another Overlord down. Oh, valuing Relic over it. Cool. Okay. Respecting the Ketramose or respecting their own graveyard engine. Either one is possible here. Okay, I'm going to Flicker Wisp my Overlord. If they are kind enough to leave it in play, I will abuse it. And I'll go to my end step and enjoy a 5/5 and another card. The 4th Solitude, at minimum. Okay, the 4th Solitude or the first Ketramose. I'm going to value Ketramose over that, believe it or not. There are 5 cards currently in exile. I could quickly make it 7, though. I've got the technology. No attacks. We're turning it around. Phelia. I like that. I'm just going to attack with my creatures. See what they want to do about it. Okay, attacking Phelia or another Solitude. Is it possible to have too many Solitudes in a matchup like this one? I don't think so. All right, Solitude in my hand. I think I want to play... I don't want to play Ketramose. I have 7 cards in hand. I can just pass. 6 of my 7 cards are instants or have flash. And I don't want to just feed Ketramose to a Solitude here. Eladamri's Call. Do we have a combo, or is this just value? Elish Norn, Mother of Machines. That card is pretty good in the matchup. I do have March of Otherworldly Light to handle it, though, which is good because it's about the only thing that does handle it. That and Vindicate, which I don't think I brought in ultimately. Okay. Elish Norn resolves. They've got 2 cards in their hand. Is one of them Ephemerate? That would suck. Okay, they know about the Solitudes. They started to attack and then backed off. That is the correct choice. Because I could just flash in Solitude as a 3-2 blocker. Okay, how do I want to do this? I'm at least going to play Phelia. Having that invested is good. And Solitude, pitching Solitude. I do need some white cards left over for this March. Phelia can also exile Elish Norn temporarily. Ketramose. Okay, I'm actually going to play Ketramose here. Flickering out the Elish Norn is sick. That's a line I have access to. Ephemerating the Knight in response. Okay, so I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can actually clear Elish Norn here. I could also Rave Enfeeblement the Knight and stuff this whole shit. I'm going to do that. That was sweet. Ephemerate was the card I was worried about. Got it covered. And they just backed it to that. Cool. All right. Basically the same deck as me, but doing a little extra, the extra color, the Eladamri's Call, the Green Sun Zenith, a little more toolboxy than Raw Rate. And my Raw Rate just ran them over. The 9th installment of the NYSE Vintage Open Series is coming. This 15 proxy vintage tournament with Power 9 prizes takes place on Saturday, June 14th, 2025 in Long Island, New York, and has a $500 entry fee. That's a hefty entry, but the guaranteed prizes for top 8 are unlimited Black Lotus, Ancestral Recall, Time Walk, and all 5 Moxen. The NYSE Open 8 went well for me last year. Someone better come stop me from getting another Lotus. Will it be you? I'll be at the NYSE Open 9 on June 14th, and I hope to see you there. Register on melee.gg or use the link in the video description. I am on the play in round 3. No Thoughtseize this time, but we have the Phelia into Overlord business again. I'm going to play the Backstreet from my hand. No reason to use a fetch land on a tap land when I might need an untapped land later. Ketramose, we keep those around. The reason for the season. The only god I worship. Arid Mesa. Okay, I'm going to play Swamp and pass. The sequencing here, you want Phelia down, so when you play Overlord, you can immediately attack and flicker it. If I play Overlord first, I get a card right away, but then I have to cast Phelia on the following turn and then attack with Phelia on the following turn. Okay. Spars HQ Arid Mesa. Would not be surprised if Phelia meets a Leyline Binding or some other removal spell here. Yeah, Spell Snare. Pain in the Tuchus, but works. The Rephelia. I could go for it again, or I could sneak Ketramose in right now. I could also stick Phelia right now. Okay, what I'm going to do is play Phelia when they fetch. Okay, so they're going to fetch some Surveil land. I'll let that resolve. Raucous Theater. This is a domain strategy of some kind. I'm going to play Phelia now. If they have Spell Snare in their deck, like a removal spell would remove it whenever I cast it, but right now I've dodged counter. Yeah, I think my opponent's on a bit of a brew. Like, even if they play Teferi here, it's not like Phelia would have done anything. It's not like Ketramose would have done anything different. Overlord is the one card that would have played better against the Teferi. Yeah, I don't know what this Domain Rakdos deck is. Attacking with Ragavan. I'm not going to trade Phelia for that, so enjoy your treasure. I'm also not going to pitch Ketramose to remove that. A Rag hit, and the exiled Thoughtseize. And that card's pretty good. But so is my hand, so... Do they value Ketramose or Overlord higher? They both draw cards next turn. Ketramose is the concern. Rag can dash back, and then I'm going to fetch another Surveil. Boggart Trawler. I will keep that. It's a land, if land ends up being what I need, and it's a graveyard hit, if graveyard hit is what I need. Alright, I'll just do the obvious thing here. It worked. Which is sick, because I could just get back the Ketramose they just Thoughtseized. I'm not saying they're wrong, I'm just saying it's interesting that could have taken the Overlord and didn't. Phelia is doing her thing. I don't think... Oh, no, I definitely do. Alright, fine. Boggart Bog. I should have done this pre-combat. I was about to say I don't think I need to take 3 damage to get Emperor Bones in, but I kind of do, because that is a Ketramose engine. Okay, Consign. So my Overlord's just gone forever. That's fine. It already drew a card. It was a 2-for-1. We'll take it. Does this deck have some sort of Wrath effect? Where are we going? You know Ragavan's one of the 5 cards in hand. Tribal Flames, okay. They can value dash Rag here. Oh, they got the PP Mountain. They look better on Magic Online than they do in real life, that's for sure. They actually look gold and interesting here, instead of just drenched in piss. Your Ragavan coming through. Please don't hit Fatal Push. Or Thoughtseize. Just hit some brick I don't care about. Let me take over. They exiled Fatal Push, Jesus. I'm deleting my account. This is it. Okay, Ragavan has just fully demonic tutored my deck twice in a row. Alright, Ketramose, get in. I can march the Ragavan if it reappears. I did not get to draw a card this turn, which I would have if I had Phelia. Now I actually feel behind. The Ragavan straight up drawing a card each turn at basically no tempo loss has been rough. Because they hit high impact 1-drops that they could cast off the treasure. Here comes Rag. I'm going to exile this. I don't get to draw a card because Ketramose only counts my turn. And this is now 2 cards in exile. I need another 5 before Ketramose matters. Relic of Progenitus off the top. Alright, the Ragavan. Alright, Relic off the top. Solitude. Happy to cast that one too, not gonna lie. Exile that Scion of Draco. This will draw me a card. Ephemerate. That plays extremely well. I guess I have to let Rag hit me again because this thing pops so hard if I get there. With Solitude still in play. Another Scion. Okay, well, now it's not even a bluff. A first strike trample. Ragavan coming in. 100% hit Thoughtseize here, by the way. The way this game has gone. Alright, please just miss. Don't Thoughtseize me, bro. Took Witch Enchanter. Alright, can't use that one. And they are Hellbent. I am in business. Oh my god. Alright. What is the best sequence here? I could flicker a lot of stuff. So if I ephemerate, or if I Flicker Wisp, exiling Solitude, that draws a card, then Solitude comes back, draws a card, and I still have Ephemerate in my hand, which could flicker and draw another card. I could also just Ephemerate. I think I want to start by just Ephemerating Solitude. I'm a little worried about burn, like getting burned out. We've seen Tribal Flames, and this sequence does put me to pretty low life. Witch Enchanter, this kills Scion of Draco without costing me anything else. I could just be at 6 going into their turn. If I Flicker Wisp, the Ragavan will have Solitude and Witch Enchanter in front of it, and they have 1 draw off the top, and I'll be... Okay. I'm going to go with Witch Enchanter. And this plays around Tribal Flames, at least as much as I can. Okay, I'm at 6, past the turn. Hope to connect with a lifelink creature next turn and take it over. They could Flames me just to turn off Ephemerate. Right, well, easily blocking with Witch Enchanter here. Not letting that through. There are 6 cards in exile right now. It'll be down to 5 when I rebound Ephemerate. So I can rebound targeting Ketramose and still just draw a card here. And then I connect with my lifelinker. Tribal Flames is a sorcery. This is fine. Okay, still draw a card. Another Solitude. Another Ephemerate. Now I could do something like Solitude my own Ketramose to gain a bunch of life in an emergency situation. I am, I think, fine with this situation. Exile up to 1 other target creature. I could Solitude this Solitude. I'm not going to Ephemerate. Okay, that just works. It's fine. Scion of Draco. That's in. I'm just going to Solitude that in the end step. I don't need more cards. I do need a life buffer to not get burned out. Scion's in exile. There are 6 cards in exile. Flicker Wisp can exile like Boggart Bog, and I draw a card and attack for 7. Yeah, this is great. A Flicker Wisp, exile Boggart Bog, draws me a card, turns on Ketramose, get a giant attack in, and then there will be way more than 7 cards in for the rest of the game. That was a tight one, but it was sweet. Vindicate, I like. White Orchid Phantom's interesting because they are a domain deck. We've seen Tribal Flames that can roast the Blood Baron. I'm not going to bring it in if it dies to a 2-drop. They might have Flage in their deck, so I'm thinking about Emperor of Bones as a potential cut. Thoughtseize. I don't think I want to be Thoughtseizing this opponent very much. March. Vindicate. Yeah, even if they have Flage, I have a bunch of relics and exile-based removal. Maybe I'll just split the difference and leave in 2 bones and only bring in 3 White Orchids instead of 4. I don't even know if White Orchid's going to be good. There will be games where it's dominating, games where it's irrelevant. It'll usually be somewhere in the middle. Well, this is the worst hand I've had yet. I think I am going to keep it, test the range of the deck. Leyline of the Guild Pact. I can Vindicate that if I'm still alive. Being on the draw against this thing is rough, though. Just gotta hope their hand is kind of mid, otherwise. Solitude, okay. Step in the right direction. Now let's see how they fetch. If they rely on the ley line to get their colors and use their fetch lands poorly, removing the ley line could ruin their life 2 turns from now. But if it doesn't matter, then it doesn't matter. Raucous Theater, Polluted Delta, there's Scion, it has all the colors. So they do have the nuts. I need to break up the ley line to actually play this game at all. Ephemerate. Yes. That will be an important part of my recovery process. I'm going to fetch Basic Swamp. I don't think they're going to Blood Moon me, but I will respect the possibility. Okay, I'm in the Bone Zone. Just going to exile a land from their graveyard, get the Ketramose clock ticking. Shocked and Blood Crypt. Territorial Kavu. Doesn't have haste, but that's the only thing it doesn't have. First Strike's Hexproof, Lifelink, Trample, Vig. Those are the words that my opponent's creatures all have on them. And they are holding up mana for Stubborn Denial, a card that would be very bad if they have, but I can't play around. We saw Spell Snare game 1. I don't know what their counter spread actually is. There's Ketramose. Someday. I'm going to go after the ley line because I'm just freaking dead if I don't. And if they Stubborn Denial here, I think I'll just concede. Their whole squad having Hexproof while my hand is Solitude, White Card, Ephemerate is tough. Okay, Leyline down, and I'll exile it. They can fetch the Spars HQ and just have a 5/5 again. I think I will. Oh, this has Trample, just naturally. Alright, I probably won't jump block it then. Okay, they didn't get Spars HQ, went for Steam Vents. These are all mountains. I wonder if the HQ is in their hand, or if they just forgot. Or if they actually need triple red for something. They're looting with their Kavu, discarding Consign to Memory. I am not going to block. It would save me 2 damage to block. And I'm just going to hope I don't get burned out here. I'm at 7. If being at 9 would have saved me, they got me. Oh, the old post-combat Spars HQ. Interesting. I don't think it was in their hand at the... Like, I don't think it was in their deck. Like, they could have looted into it just now. But I think that was just a mistake. Emperor of Bones, exile Consign to Memory, and pass the turn. Not going to attack. Might need to block with this, depending on how the Solitude play goes. I will let them draw first, even though that could be a counterspell. Okay, beginning of combat. I'm going to exile Ketramose here, then exile Scion of Draco. We saw Consign to Memory before. Ephemerate will blow that out. Okay, Consign to Memory, that works. Then I'm going to March of Otherworldly Light, the Kavu. I'm sequencing it like this to try to flush out Stubborn Denial. They didn't have that. Get a basic Plains, and then Ephemerate. Leyline Binding, that was tight. Good play. Oh, they went for the Bone Zone. Interesting. Basic Plains, okay. I don't think Ephemerate's on their radar, or they have Lightning Bolt to break it up if I do. That would work too. Wow. Alright. Got away with that one somehow. Just weird sequencing, getting in the opponent's head. I'm going to decline my Rebound and find another one right away. Let's go. Let's go. Turn it around. 24 life to 6. Start the grind. That one of Vindicate in the sideboard again, doing the Lord's work. They've got 5 mana now. Kavu. I'm going to wait to Ephemerate. What if I find something better? Okay. I'll pass. I think I have to Ephemerate in their upkeep this time. I can't really afford for them to draw a counterspell in this spot. Sacred Foundry tapped in the end step. Okay, Ephemerate Solitude right now. Got him. We've seen Spell Snare, which I think I should let them draw into rather than playing Phelia into Sorcery Speed interaction. Tribal Flames. Alright, the Flames have flamed. And end step Phelia. There are Already lots of cards in exile. Okay, they did have the spells there. They drew one of those cards this turn. Now, who's better at top decking? I think I am. It only takes one big draw. Flooded Strand, I have one more Surveil land. That's worth playing out. They have way more life to figure out this out with than I do. But one Overlord, and I get to just turn it immediately. Solitude buys me a lot of time. Backstreet, don't need the Verge. Overlord, Ephemerate. Someday, that'll be good. Fetch Basic Mountain, they're just thinning their deck over there. They're out of Surveils. They drew a card. Null Drifter, terrifying. Well, I'm glad they didn't have one more mana. Wow. Now I understand the consigned to memory. Okay, so a Divination's pretty powerful here, and now knowing they have Null Drifter in their deck, this 7th land actually matters. Oh, failed to find. They lost count. They lost count. Okay, that was free money. Can I punish it? White Orchid Phantom. Okay. We mentioned this in the sideboard. This could be insane or could do nothing. Spars HQ. How many basics are in your deck? It can't be very many. All right, the planes, also the PP planes. Ephemerate now has a target, and a dashed Ragavan isn't a problem anymore. All right, hardcasting Leyline of the Guild Pact, so my mana denial strat, not a good one anymore. There's no reason not to play this out, but I'm not happy about it. Oh, weird. The Leyline turns it black border. Washes the payoff. Love those Magic Online little tricks. Okay, 8 is not meaningfully different than 7, so I will fetch the Shockland out of my deck just to clear it. And we're looking for Overlord. Solitude's fine too. As long as they don't find Scion of Draco, the Solitude is going to be good. But if they do find Scion, I'm in trouble. Flage. Don't like that. I hope they kill my creature. They are killing my creature. Alright, Flage has... Alright. I'm going to try to exile the Flage now. Blue creatures have hexproof with Scion. Oh no. Alright, Scion's not even in play. I'm confused. The Leyline doesn't grant those abilities, the Scion does. And I'm not going to save Void Orchid Phantom with Ephemerate when Solitude is now in play. Big draws, big draws, big draws. Flicker Wisp is a medium draw. I could flicker their Leyline Binding and then Ephemerate whatever they target on the way back in. That would give me an Emperor of Bones to play the game with. It would flush out my Ephemerate. I think this is worth doing. Okay, little weird, but I think it makes sense. I should have thought of that pre-combat. I could have exiled something. Okay, they're still going after the Bone Zone. I will Ephemerate it. Now Ketramose is a draw engine if I find one, and something like Phelia or Solitude out of the graveyard even once is a powerful effect. Another Flage. This can't kill Emperor, though. They're going to try. Or I guess they can just escape it. Bummer. Okay, this is a 4/4. And then they will escape Flage immediately. But I do have an Ephemerate still in the tank, which means if they finish off the Bone Zone, I can just Solitude their Flage. If they don't finish off the Bone Zone, I can Ephemerate Flicker Wisp and reset the Flage. Ugh. Alright, that Flage is really bad for me. I hope they remain worried about this Emperor of Bones. Okay, they just piled everything into Emperor of Bones. Did they forget that I have an Ephemerate on rebound? It's certainly right here to take out the Solitude. Ephemerate Solitude. That's 2 Flages down, and I've taken 0 damage. Hey, the Bone Zone. You try to keep a good bone down. You can't. At the beginning of combat, exile... Who do I want here? Phelia? Exile Phelia. Adapt. Attack. I am going to use Flicker Wisp to keep Phelia forever. That's my trick here. I just have to stack my triggers correctly. I hope this works. Okay, return Flicker Wisp first. Exile Phelia. Now there's nothing to sacrifice. And I think Phelia should come back in my opponent's end step now, forever. Unless I don't know how finality counters work. Which is entirely possible. Flicker Wisp trigger. It worked. Fun. Boggart Trawler. Okay, do I want to trawl their bog? I think so. Okay. I'll Boggart Trawler. Exile their graveyard. That stops the next Flage from at least escaping right away. It also leaves a body back for Dash Ragavan concerns. Attack with everything. I think I want to exile Flicker Wisp. This slows down the damage I'm dealing, but I can reset my Emperor of Bones to get another Bone Blast. And I think if I'm able to repeatedly blast my bones, they're going to have a hard time winning. They played another land. End step, Emperor of Bones comes back. Witch Enchanter. That's actually insane. I cast Witch Enchanter. Take out the Leyline. Now their mana gets really shitty. Take out Leyline. Fetching in response. Do they have a consigned to memory for this? We're way past where a consigned to memory would be useful. Okay, they're just fetching a bunch of lands that fail to find. Are they just goofing around and then going to concede? Is that what's happening? Okay. Those were 5-color lands that are no longer that. Emperor of Bones, target White Orchid Phantom. Going full mana denial at this point. And they scooped it up. Okay, cool. Yeah, just ground the game to a halt, and then it came down to some big top decks. There was like 2 or 3 turns where Scion of Draco would have just ended me, but they didn't have that, and we got the little pieces moving. Lots of cool blinking tricks that round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the play in round 4. I like my hand just fine. I will keep it. I think I'm just going to start with a tapped Godless Shrine and pass. The alternative is the tapped Witch Enchanter, but I would prefer that to be a white card or a land. I don't really want to have to use it as a land, and I have several draw steps before that would need to be a problem. I do have the draw 1 extra card curve of turn 2 Phelia, turn 3 Ketramose, blink the Ketramose. Marsh Flats, oh yeah. Is it mirror match time? Am I getting Thoughtseized right away? I am. Probably losing Phelia here. That's the engine. But if they have something like Fatal Push or Solitude, then Ketramose becomes a bigger problem. With Solitude is the same. Fatal Push maybe. Okay, I am gonna jump out the dog. They know I had Ephemerate and they didn't blast the dog. They Thoughtseize you. Fetching in response. Do they have a Phelia too? They do. Alright, bad news everyone. Okay, and their hand is insane. Great. Great! I think I would rather play against... Well, this is that position my opponent last round was in. Where if I take Ketramose, Overlord just immediately gets back Ketramose, so I'm just going to take Overlord and try to figure out Ketramose some other way, I guess. I will push 2 damage through. Woof woof. Shadowy Backstreet. Using Ephemerate this early to protect Phelia from a prismatic ending is kind of whack, but I think necessary. Okay, end step, fetch a Backstreet of my own. Relic. That's not helpful. They have the Ketramose, not me. Okay, put Relic into the graveyard. Solitude. That card rules. Attack with Phelia. I'm going to exile their Phelia. We're having fun. Just throwing cards around like crazy. And I will play Witch Bless Meadow tapped as a land. My 5th land does matter. Fatal Push. Okay, it's dead. I want to get them committed to the Ketramose. Alright. Well, I know they have a Solitude too to blow out my Ephemerate, which is unfortunate. But I can at least remove Ketramose here. And then right now, before they get any more options... Wow, they didn't pitch their Solitude in response. That's lucky for me. Oh, now they did. Too late now. Missed the window. That's... Okay. I got 1 extra Phelia's worth of value out of here that I shouldn't. But Solitude pitching Prismatic Ending's been cleared. I have an Ephemerate that's gonna fail to rebound in my upkeep. And then big draws. Flicker Wisp is not a small draw. Okay, I guess I'll flicker my Witch Bless Meadow. Or am I more interested in Shadowy Backstreet? I think it's Shadowy Backstreet. A 2-2 that doesn't kill anything is not going to change this game. But a big Overlord hit might. Oh, Trawler. That is exactly medium. I don't think I'm going to keep this Trawler. I want a Ketramose. I want an Overlord. They've got an Emperor of Bones now with a Solitude under it. Thoughtseize. I mean, I'm going to cast it. Thoughtseize and Phelia. I'll take the Phelia. They have a Thoughtseize. My creature flies. Might as well get in. I am behind. And they drew Ketramose. Now I'm extremely behind. They're at 13 life. I need to remove Ketramose this turn. I guess I have to play this out because the game is grindy enough and life total is messy enough that if I find a Solitude and clear their Ketramose, it might take a long time to grind back. They are up like 4 cards on me at this point. Overlord, 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm at 1. And they got back Solitude. Yeah, I'm super dead. Skyclave Apparition. I don't even play that card. It's in their deck. Overlord of Bones. I'm in trouble. All right, cool. GG. And that was a showcase of Thoughtseize, where that round I played against the Abzan Pseudo Mirror, I cut it because it's a bad draw late. And my opponent actually experienced both versions of that. They had a turn 1 Thoughtseize that broke up my whole plan, and then they had a Thoughtseize that they ended the game with in their hand because I didn't have cards in my hand anymore. And I still think I'd rather play towards turn 4 and beyond than turn 1. Yeah, so hand disruption out. Like the old Jund decks. Jund in various formats. You board out your Thoughtseizes in the mirror because they come down to top decking all the time. And this is basically a Jund deck. Can I get this Vindicate in here? Do I want it? Do I need it? Can I fit it? I think I do want it. I think I don't need it. And I think I can't fit it. Just going for the most efficient interaction again. And the Blood Baron. More like Thud Baron. That's the sound he makes when he hits the battlefield. I will keep this. I need something to go with my engine cards, but I have engine cards. The Arid Mesa pass. Well, there's Ketramose. That's the engine I'm talking about. If I can find the land to go with it. Maybe I'm supposed to play out Emperor even with no exiles, just on the upside of hitting Ketramose next turn. My opponent seems to have that same idea. Are they going to exile their own graveyard? They are, okay. End step, Phelia. Land? Shit. Alright, didn't get the land. I do have an Emperor of my own. An exile your Arid Mesa. Attack with Phelia. I could flicker my own Emperor. Yeah, I'm going to flicker my Emperor, which makes Phelia bigger if they don't trade with it. Cool. Alright, so I have a 3-3. There's no graveyards. They could potentially make a 4-4. I can make a 4-4 next turn. They did have the Nut Curve out. Do they have a Solitude to maximize? Seems they do. But so do I. Solitude, exiling. I think I gotta pitch one of these Ephemerates. It's just the worst card here. Okay. They will still draw a card, but not many cards this turn. Exile Ketramose. They go up a card there. And who do they want? They took my Emperor. Okay. Now they'll eat my Solitude. Can I draw the land for Ketramose to get back in this? Absolutely not. Impossible. Okay. But I do have another Emperor. I'll put Solitude under that. And this turn I'm going to flicker their Emperor to reset these cards that are under there. I don't want them hitting me with a Solitude next turn. And I don't want to lose the Solitude that's under mine. Another Solitude. Pitching Witch Enchanter, down to 3 cards in hand. I lose my Emperor. They could Solitude my Phelia immediately. Or just do something way worse. Skyclave Apparition, Solitude, Witch Enchanter in the graveyard. Took back a Solitude. And they've got another land. Yeah, in control mirrors, frequently the person who misses land drops loses, and if I just had Ketramose in play, it would have at least drawn 1 card when it got Solituded. And that's like what happened last turn. Like I had to use 2 cards, and they drew a card when it happened. Alright, there are more than 7 cards in exile. I know they have a Solitude in their hand. I don't think I can afford to do anything other than play Ketramose here. Like if it costs them 2 cards to answer it, I don't draw a card because it's their turn. Alright. Whatever. Here's Ketramose. I guess the alternative was if march their Emperor this turn and then hold up Ephemerate for my Ketramose. Yeah, I think that was better. Okay, I'm kind of spewing off here. Not gonna lie. Phelia. I think I need to kill this Emperor of Bones before it deals 20 damage to me. I'm worried about the Overlord. We've got 3 more turns before that is a huge problem. Thoughtseize is going to take Phelia. But they still have their Thoughtseizes in, and they've all hit targets. Yeah, so they can Phelia, turn on their Overlord, and I'm just completely cooked here. Yeah, all right. Yeah, opponent had Ketramose both games, and I didn't, I think is what that came down to. Just the ability to deploy a card draw engine, where I was treading water with 1-for-1 removal in combat trades, and they had Ketramose and eventually Overlord to just take over all of it. I'm still not convinced on Thoughtseize, though they did cast one that game. It was just okay, honestly. Yep, I don't know. Well, if we lose one match this round and it's the mirror, then that will certainly tell a story. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables.
Good. All right, here we go, gang.
In this YouTube series, hosts Cedric Phillips and Patrick Sullivan take us on a set-by-set journey through the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a focused deep dive into the facts about a set's design and release, the Magic lore expressed through the cards in that set, Tournament Edition gameplay videos featuring products and Pro Tour decks of the era, an award show that shouts out the best and weirdest cards of the set, and a final grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. I'm on the play in the final round. Gonna have to mulligan this one. It's a 1-lander, but I would need 2 to feel happy with this. Okay, this is a 4-lander. I'm gonna bottom up planes and I will keep this. I am in the market for a Ketramose or an Overlord, but I have multiple Phelias to pop them off if I find them. Opponent's got an Arid Mesa. Relic. I don't think I need to Relic right now. I'd rather get Phelia down. Shadowy Backstreet, what's up, mirror match? Kept the card on top. Alright, they've got an Overlord down and dirty. It hits Solitude and Boggart Trawler. Took the Solitude. Here's Phelia. Do they want to spend 2 cards on this? Probably not. Not unless I show them an Overlord or something that's going to break it open. Which I did not do. I'll play Relic of Progenitus. I go to combat. Attack. And holding priority, target Relic, and then make them exile. This will bring the Relic back untapped and grow my Phelia this turn. In a spot where I wasn't really using her otherwise. Godless Shrine tapped. I'm trying to get up to this Witch Enchanter. Land 4 is actually a really big deal in this spot. I tap the Relic on them again in my end step. Aether Vial. Okay, so they're not a Ketramose build. I think these things are mutually exclusive. I don't think you can actually fit Aether Vial and Ketramose and everything you need to support Ketramose in. Maybe you play like 2 just as fair and square Ketramose in the Vial builds. Still not totally convinced on that either. Solitude, okay. Little disappointing to not find the land here, but I'm not going to play out Witch Enchanter because my next land is a very important one, and I have multiple turns before it sucks that I miss. And Aether Vial, I can flicker that with Phelia every turn, and it never has more than 1 counter on it. They got a Backstreet, kept their card, exile their Marsh Flats. Land number 4, I'm jealous of all these lands they have. I could pop Relic to draw a card here, but I don't think I'm that desperate yet. Ooh. Now we're going to force an issue. Overlord. They've been sitting on this Solitude since turn 2. They picked it up with Overlord, and they haven't exiled my Phelia yet. Ketramose to hand. Oh, they let me into combat. That's crazy. Right, target Overlord. Tap the Relic. And do I want Witch Enchanter in play now? Because now I have Solitude and Ketramose. I'm going to play Witchbless Meadow, and I'm not going to pay 3 life. That does give up an answer to Overlord, but I think I'm ready for Overlord. Witch Enchanter, Emperor of Bones, Ketramose. I could grab another Witch Enchanter that covers the Aether Vial and the Overlord. Phelia is already 5/5, just been going to town whole game. If this Aether Vial is going to catch up, it needs to start doing it soon. That's the fundamental difference between these builds. Aether Vial represents mana, and Ketramose represents cards. So what does this deck actually need more, mana or cards? Okay, Vialed in Emperor Bones. I will simply Fatal Push that right now. It could Ephemerate. I don't think that's a huge deal if they do. And I still have a Solitude I can pitch if I feel really worried about something they're about to do. Okay, cool. Fatal Push just worked. It zapped in land number 5, so this can be Hardcast Solitude. Witch Enchanter, that works too. That kills my Overlord. I've been coming up with a similar plan for the last several turns myself. And they're Ephemerating my Enchanter. This takes out Relic. I'm fine with Relic being done at this point. Those are all distractions. A Witch Enchanter, cast this, take out their Overlord, and then they'd have to pitch Solitude to stop me from taking their Aether Vial too. And then they're on very few cards. And they didn't do that. They're being stingy with that Solitude. Maybe at this point you just have to take your medicine, but I feel like they could have, a very long time ago, gotten a lot out of the Solitude. And they're still going to get some cards here. They're going after Phelia first. Do I want to Ephemerate? Yeah, they can Ephemerate it, it's fine. They can have my Witch Enchanter. My hand is full of engine cards. I'm not going to go 2 for 1 to protect a card that already went 2 for 1. 3 for 1 even. I have 4 cards to their 3. Most of them are engines. Ketramose, March of Otherworldly Light. Overlord Phelia is just chilling here. I think I'm going to go Ketramose and Solitude. Pitching March. Take out their Solitude when I'm in a spot to draw an extra card. If I hit a land, I can Overlord. Emperor. Alright, well, Emperor is good too. What do they got left over there? Another Solitude's pretty good. I don't have an Ephemerate ready. Godless Shrine. If they shock this in, it would be a little scary. Okay, they didn't. Okay, Overlord Phelia or Emperor of Bones get to work. Emperor of Bones can take their Overlord, which can refill my hand and graveyard. Take your... Okay, they're just scooping to that. Cool. The Bone Zone. Really good in the mirror. And we've done this a few times now, and I haven't been convinced of any other plan yet. I think even if you get games here and there where your opponent thought seizes you in a mirror match early and it matters, over more games, more of the time, you're going to benefit from better top decks. It's the Vindicate that's calling to me, not the thought seizes. I still don't think I have a good home for it. Yeah, it's fine. Anything I would Vindicate, I can kill other ways in this deck. I don't think I'm going after lands. Oh no, this hand is really good. And I'm on the draw. Let's see. There are 24 mana sources in this deck. There's one in my hand, so there's 23. 2 times 23 is 46. There's 53 cards in my deck, so it's a bit worse than 50-50, and I get 2 hits. If I find the land, I'm in Crazy Town. If I don't find the land, I'm in Garbage Town. Non-land draws that are also good are Ephemerate. Relic's not good. Fatal Push might be fine. I'm going to mulligan. Okay. Rewarded with basically the same hand, except it has 2 lands in it now. I will keep. And I think I have to bottom the Emperor of Bones, even though that is a high impact card in the matchup. I need my lands. Overlord's the refill. Ray of Enfeeblement is just hyper efficient interaction. And then Phelia is the engine. Solitude is the removal spell. Yeah, I'll keep and bottom Emperor. Okay. Shadowy Backstreet. Dumped an Ephemerate. So they're not ready for Ephemerate tricks. That's good news. They also mulled to 6. The 3rd land. Okay, I hope I can get Shadowy Backstreet here, but if they play some creature that I need to enfeeble, I'll just do that. Okay, they zap that in, which means they're probably going to play Phelia this turn. I don't want another Phelia. I'm good on those. An Overlord. I'm actually going to play Boggart Bog tapped and pass and enfeeble their end-step Phelia. Because they took 3 damage for this. They clearly have a play they need to make, and this breaks up their nut draw if I do this. And it doesn't matter if you Overlord into Phelia quickly, it just matters that you do it. Wow, look at that. No plays passed right back to me. They might just have another Phelia they're setting up, but I'm ready. It's Overlord time. I can get back Emperor of Bones or Phelia. I'll get back Emperor of Bones, and I'll play Witchblessed Meadow tapped as a land. I am prepared to pitch Flicker Wisp to Solitude if they have another Phelia here. I guess I could let them get to combat, see what they commit. Alright, I'll see if they cast anything I'm worried about. This does open up Ephemerate. Okay. Overlord, trigger. There's a Solitude or a Phelia in there. They brought back Solitude. Beginning of combat, Solitude, your Phelia. Maybe I was supposed to pitch my Phelia here and get the guaranteed Flicker Wisp flicker for Overlord. I don't know. They have a Solitude in their hand, but that would work guaranteed. Oh, they had a land. They must not have an Ephemerate. They didn't even represent it on that line. Untap land would be sweet, though. We did it. Okay. The Bleachbone Verge. I'll play Emperor of Bones. Target their Phelia, who I can attack with, and exile my Overlord. If they have Fatal Push, they get to mess me up here. Oh, it's Dismember. Alright. Okay, Dismember kills the creature, then no +1 counters are placed on it, and then we pass. Yeah, they could have done that before I went into combat and there'd still be a Phelia in their graveyard. Maybe they just wanted me to commit the mana, and that was more important to them than protecting their graveyard. But by doing it the way they did it, I can't jump in this Phelia this turn. I did spend that mana. Shadowy Backstreet first. Getting a feel for the top of that deck. Dumped Arid Mesa. Okay, I'm gonna... I could just cast this Overlord. Is it better to double spell or to just have this Big O? I know they have Solitude and they're approaching 5 mana. I think I'd rather impend this and give myself multiple options. So I have Solitude and Phelia and Emperor of Bones all in my graveyard right now. There's a Flicker Wisp. Alright, I'll take the Flicker Wisp. I'll do the line that I may have noticed a second too late a few turns ago. Flicker this further from impending Overlord. And now it's drawn 2 cards even if they do Solitude at this turn. I think I would like back Solitude at this point. I got plenty of mana. Okay, they do have a Phelia. I could just delete it. They would have to ram it into my Overlord in combat. I think I'm just going to Solitude this thing. Maybe I'm supposed to do that upkeep so they can't attack if they have Ephemerate as their last card that I don't know about. Okay. That was basically the Overlord just protecting itself. It picked up Solitude and another creature that turn, and then I pitched a secondary creature to Solitude that turn. They have an Overlord, picked up another Solitude, so their hand is 2 Solitudes and 1 unknown. Solitude, pitching Solitude. Now I don't know anything. Overlord's gone. They've got 2 of them. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs, that's a good one. I guess I'll cast it pre-combat just in case they exile my Flicker Wisp for some reason. I don't know. They would just exile Ketramose if they were going to do that. Okay, we're just slamming now. My Overlord wakes up a turn before theirs does. Ketramose is busted. They just pass back to me. Another Overlord. I'm still going to impend this. It's the graveyard full of stuff, including Emperor of Bones. Ooh, Boggart Trawler. I could take their whole graveyard. Oh, Emperor of Bones is not actually in my graveyard. They must have exiled that at some point that I lost track of. Okay, I'm going to cast Boggart Trawler. Exile their graveyard, and they've had enough. A 4-1 record, losing only to the mirror match, and then also beating the mirror match, and also beating a pseudo-mirror match where they had green cards. This deck definitely is awesome. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a ton of flexibility. How many Emperor of Bones you play? Do you want the Ketramose Relic engine, or do you want the Aether Vials? Flicker Wisp, March of Otherworldly Light, the split of Thoughtseize, Fatal Push, Ephemerate, probably all a little bit flexible. You can tune the sideboard for your metagame. Like once Breach isn't in the format anymore, maybe Emperor of Bones main just become White Orchid Phantom main. I don't know, any of these things could be true. I'm just speculating. Like if Eldrazi and Amulet Titan become the best decks after the format rotates. A lot of play to this, a lot of card advantage, a lot of customization in the list. This is a very good deck. I normally don't like Death and Taxes style decks. Like, these play patterns just don't really jive with me, even if I respect them as powerful. But I actually did enjoy this a lot. I could see myself actually registering this in a Modern tournament, which is a lot to say about a deck without a single cantrip or counter spell to be found. Mr. Toots, thanks for sharing this with us. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon. I'll see you next time.